Occasionally I edit my videos because I'm thinking over the things in them, and but now I see that maybe an unbroken there's an element of my editing is honest, but there's an element of raw honesty by not editing it. So no more editing after this little intro. Hey, Jean-Pierre and Ian, this is Piero. All right, that's a handle, but you know it's a true name, uh, like my Native American name, let's say, because it's self-chosen. It reflects my own philosophy. I used to use a different name for every internet site. I've been on the internet quite a while, and a different name for every site, so they can't be correlated. But I like the name Piero. He's an ancient skeptical philosopher, and at that time, skeptical didn't mean doubtful. It didn't mean it does mean like a scientific attitude, but it's not doubtful. It means reflection. I don't know Greek myself, but skepsis means reflection, to ponder in the context of the school of philosophy of skepticism, and so it's the philosophy of always being able to keep thinking about a subject. When you stop thinking about a subject, it's because you have something more important or more interesting to think about, not because you figured it out. That's the basic idea. I remember I had a philosophy professor tell us in class one time that every great philosopher had been an amateur, or at least an expert in some field other than philosophy, until I think he said around Nietzsche. And of course there's some great men, Bertrand Russell and Quine, and you could go on and on in academia, and I think also especially the logicians, because there's this mathematical side of philosophy, the invention and construction and maintenance of systems of logic. It makes sense for something like that to go on in at the academy, as they would say. But actual human affairs, policy ideas that change society, that is something I really still think is for the so-called amateur philosopher, not the scholar. The scholar is valuable, but a different creature. On digression, they say the human mind can only handle so many parentheticals. This is really what I think about digression. If you can digress into your parentheticals, into the parentheses, and make it all the way back out, then you can go as deep as you want. And if I lose track of you, that'll be my problem. But if you go way in and then just wander off, then that's not a valid digression. That's a tangent, because there is no full circle. The last thing is, I like that you, Jean-Pierre, you and Ian are using computer mind metaphors. I have a lot of ideas on that. I think, first of all, the reason it's valid is because the terms we use for computers were invented for cognitive phenomena in humans. That we describe these phenomena in humans with these terms and then applied them to computers, because we're trying to make a computer like a mind. So the fact that the computer isn't very much like a human mind or a biological mind yet is it doesn't make those terms not applicable. On the other hand, you can get into problems where you have computer terms that imply a sort of centralized system, like computers are still rather centralized, and an organic mind is heavily parallelized. Everything is going on at once. All these ideas go on at once and are combined and recombined. The internet is a lot more like an actual organic mind, because it has this massively parallel situation where everything is going on separately and the information comes together dynamically while everything happens at once, and
like relay races. Batons are passed while everything's in motion. And I believe the internet is a mind. It has many minds in it, actually, clouds of minds, and subsets of these minds can be identified, and then they act as organs into greater minds. And this is what's going on. We are inside a thought process right now, and that's that feeling of energy that you feel coursing through you. Is when you're taking part in it. Is you are part of a brain. I mean, think about it. How can it be? Now, on one sense, it's just metaphorical. It's just metaphorically. It's as if the internet is a brain. But in another sense, it's literal. Because what does a mind live in? What substance does a mind require to exist? And that's brains. The internet is a network of humans, and they have brains. So the way they interact is still going to be describable by the phenomena of mind, except for in some higher dimensional sense because of the multiple minds together. So do multiple minds give an extra dimensionality? Are their thoughts so original and in such a new direction that there's a new dimensionality by every added mind? Or do they just add together and make a bigger mind that is similar to the smaller mind but with a bigger capacity? So does two minds together, are they just twice as much memories? It depends on the kind of person, depends on the kind of mind. I like to think I add dimensionality myself. Okay. I hope you enjoy. I'd really like a reply. I mean, if you don't get what I'm saying, you could even just say that. Enjoy.